I've written into foundations, issuing out grants.
But the second album, I didn't get the grant.
A bit tough to be an artist in Singapore.
That's why I say that internally you've got to have that passion.
Passion Made Possible is just another way the government is trying to sell us the lie of meritocracy.
Passion is something like a fire that always in your heart. My name is William Sim. I'm a visual artist. This is my studio. Visual art doesn't have a boundary whether you are doing fine art or design or fashion design. Okay, this book is actually conceptualized such a way that it consists of the 13 different cover where you can switch the cover. And by switching the cover, it actually showcases a different Chinese word, which is the theme of the drawing that I have. So this chapter consists all the like oldies, foods, biscuit, the traditional biscuits and things like that. So it anchor have 13 chapters altogether. These are all the works that for my past 10 years career, I always keep in mind is that I love drawing. It is always about drawing, the thrill of drawing, the fun of sharing my images.
So I first started in primary 2 in my primary school. So there was a new Chinese orchestra that was being started. So I raised my hand saying, oh, I want to be a part of it because I thought it was going to be a Western orchestra. But then I found out it was a Chinese orchestra and I was like, oh, okay. So I started playing this instrument called the swana. It's a Chinese trumpet. And then I played it for the rest of my primary school years. I think the point where I realized, okay, this was my passion was when I realized that these artists and bands were not doing it just because they want to make money, but because they wanted to have their art shown to the world. Yeah, I was like that as well, and I thought, oh, okay, yeah, so I have these ideas in my head. I want the world to be a certain way. I don't want it to be a certain way, but I can envision it being a certain way, you know what I mean? And maybe my art can help with that as well.
I'll miss you, dear sanity. Your voice, it screams in my head.
When I was younger, I used to watch Disney movies. I would pause and then I would actually sketch out the scene. So I don't know, it was just something that came from within. Nobody said do this, I just wanted to do it. I decided to go on the journey in Spain. I walked this track called the Camino de Santiago de Compostela. It was a 30-day trek, there was no Wi-Fi, so I was just walking for about 900 kilometers and with no distractions at all. And it was, for me, life-changing. The thing just clicked for me, epiphany. I realized that life is just too short to be doing something else. That was the phrase that actually dawned on me. Life is just too short to be doing anything else. And then I knew I had to make a change.
I think around like the mid-2000s, camera phones were a thing. So I had this really fun Sony Ericsson thing, and I used to take pictures of my toys and just whatever that was around me. And I've always felt the need to express myself, be it through words or whatever. So I thought photography was a shortcut way to do it without having a fine art background. I was part of this show at the Singapore Art Museum earlier this year. So I was invited as part of a bunch of artists to take over the SAM at 8Q building for their closing parties. It was a really good experience because it really married like all the things I've been doing for the past couple of years. Yeah, it's just everything I wanted to do lah.
People like us in Singapore, I think like we have the privilege of having like a very small base of operations.
I think it's a bit tough to be an artist in Singapore because Singapore is a very small market.
The good and bad thing about being in Singapore is that Singapore is tiny, so everyone knows everyone.
And normally people don't pay a lot of attention to our creation here.
There are not many places to perform, not many places to have exhibitions.
So far, it's worked to my favor, but I can see the opportunities running out within the next 5 to 10 years. There's always a need to push yourself to create better and to create more. So in terms of resources available to me in Singapore, it's finite. Take like the local music industry, for example. Like there's a cycle of new bands coming out every 5 years. So once you are out of the zeitgeist, that's it. Like it's very hard to stay relevant.
I guess it's pretty convenient if it's in a small community, and a lot of time we can spark off a lot of chemistry among us, our unexpected scenario. I think in a way it's a good thing.
No, I've climbed. So do I think that Singapore has played a part? Wow. Yeah. So. A lot of what I I still get a lot of jobs from overseas. The only thing that has, I think that was another question that I struggled with. Trying to find your way to America. Live in America.
What are some of the hardships or like obstacles that you face trying to pursue this line of work in Singapore?
Just being in Singapore for the last 3 years and trying to struggle getting a studio and just making things happen, it's been really tough, really, really tough. I've written into foundations, issuing out grants 5 times, and I've got 5 rejections from them.
Because they always give the funding to the artists that they like, and they have this vision that they want to be, and then they always give the funding to generate something that they want to be in their mind. But then art is not like that. Art is it has to be blossomed by individual. I like imaginary work, I play in imaginary world. You like social commentary work, you do social commentary work. So it is not about something that the government should come to dictate how the big environment should move forward to.
By being a creative / an artist, you're just going against what the government has prescribed for you. I always felt like arts education in secondary school and primary school felt like an afterthought, and you definitely don't have any of that in tertiary education, like in poly. I mean, like, Passion Made Possible is just another way the government is trying to sell us the lie of meritocracy. So it's nice, but you obviously know that, especially in the arts, it's easier for you to get a foothold if you are already privileged. Art supplies are expensive, cameras are expensive, computers for rendering animation is expensive. So if you don't already have those resources, right, it's that much harder for you to get like a foothold in the industry.
Worst thing.
Is there even any?
There's one. Yeah, I got the grant for my first album, Compass. Yeah, that covered everything. That was fine. But the second album, I didn't get the grant because, according to them, there wasn't enough. There were too many applicants, and I think they gave it to other people already. Yeah, that's my knowledge of it. But my knowledge of it as well is that a lot of people that I know also applied for it, but didn't get it as well. So I'm not sure who it is that they gave it to. Yeah, and in the past they used to put a list of like on their website of who gets the grant, so people say, oh yeah, this so and so, but they stopped doing that. So now we're like, oh, is it really still being given out, or is it not? Or we don't know what's going on.
Would I recommend others to chase their passion, maybe in art? Yes, definitely. Whatever your calling is, whether you're called to be a musician or a poet, an opera singer, go for it. Whatever it takes you, even if it has to mean living the simple life, going overseas, struggling, and making it work.
Just do something that you like, because if it's something that you like, you will be able to do it for a very long time.
So I love what I do. I love doing it because the way I see the world is like it's like a jigsaw puzzle. So each piece has to fit into a specific point, and like in the context of the world, the puzzle isn't done yet. So each piece has to fit into a certain point in order for the whole thing to be completed. And when the world eventually is, let's say, done, or at least this era of the world is done, there will be at least a complete picture on what it has been. And so for me to do whatever I'm doing right now, I feel like it fits at least into one small part of that puzzle. And yeah, it feels good doing it, I guess. Yeah, I see myself doing this for a very long time, at least until I die, I guess.
Do I see myself doing this for the next 10 years? I see myself doing this until the day I die.
Do you see yourself doing this for like, I don't know, the future, the next 10 years maybe?
Yeah, I can see myself doing this for life.
For life?
For life.
That's good.
Yeah. This is the
The place,
There is no place
It's like this.